We all aspire to greatness, yet often find ourselves trapped in cycles of starting, stalling, or settling. You've seen it in yourself, in friends and colleagues. The initial spark, then the fade. The relentless push, then the crash. The comfortable rut, then the stagnation. These aren't just quirks, they are archetypes of self-sabotage. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. You're staring at a screen, the blue light etching itself into your retinas. 3 weeks ago, this project was your entire world. You bought the courses, you cleared your calendar, you told everyone you were finally doing it. You felt that surge of electric certainty. But tonight, the screen is blank. The excitement has evaporated, replaced by a heavy, suffocating boredom. You aren't tired, you aren't lazy, you're just done. You tell yourself the idea wasn't actually that good, or that the timing is off, or that you need a different strategy. You close the laptop and feel a strange, shameful relief. You think you have a discipline problem. You think you're lacking some innate grit that the successful people possess. You believe that if you could just find the right productivity app or the perfect morning routine, the pieces would finally click. They won't, because the problem isn't your discipline. The problem is your identity. You are not failing to reach your goal. You are actively sabotaging your progress to protect yourself from the discomfort of being mediocre. You have fallen into one of 3 psychological traps. You are playing a role, and that role is designed to keep you exactly where you are. The first role is the dabbler. The dabbler is in love with the beginning. They love the day one energy, the fresh notebook, the first few tutorials where everything feels new and the progress is steep. In the beginning, you learn a lot very quickly. This is the honeymoon phase, but then you hit the plateau. The plateau is the place where the easy gains vanish. It is the space where you put in 10 hours of work, and the result looks exactly the same as it did yesterday. To the dabbler, this silence feels like failure. They mistake a lack of visible progress for a lack of potential. So they pivot. They decide that maybe coding isn't for them, and they start a newsletter. Then they decide the newsletter is too slow, and they dive into day trading. They aren't searching for a career. They are searching for that first-week dopamine hit. They move from one spark to another, leaving a trail of half-finished masterpieces behind them. Then there is the obsessive. The obsessive doesn't quit when things get hard. They try to outrun the hardship. They believe that if the plateau is the problem, the solution is more speed. They go from 0 to 100 in a heartbeat. They work 16-hour days. They cut out their social life. They treat their body like a machine that doesn't need sleep. They are chasing a result, and they want it yesterday. But mastery is not a sprint. It is a slow, grinding integration. By trying to force the result, the obsessive creates a fragile system. They build a tower of effort on a foundation of burnout. When the inevitable crash comes, when the body breaks or the mind snaps, they don't just stop, they plummet. They go from peak intensity to total paralysis, convinced that because they gave it everything and still didn't win, they simply aren't cut out for the work. Finally, there is the hacker. The hacker is the most dangerous because they actually achieve a level of success. They find the shortcuts. They learn just enough to look competent. They use the templates, the AI prompts, the industry jargon to mimic the appearance of mastery without ever doing the boring, fundamental work. The hacker settles for good enough. They avoid the stages of growth that make them feel clumsy. They refuse to be the beginner. Because the hacker is terrified of looking stupid, they never venture into the deep end where the real growth happens. They stay in the shallows, comfortably mediocre, wondering why they feel like a fraud while they collect a paycheck. This is the confrontation. You are either jumping ship at the first sign of boredom, burning your life down for a quick win, or pretending you've arrived while you're still standing at the gate. The truth is counterintuitive. The feeling of being clumsy is the only reliable sign that you are actually improving. Mastery requires a period of disjointedness. It requires a time where your mind knows what to do, but your hands cannot do it. This gap is where most people quit. They see the gap as a wall. It is not a wall, it is the work. To get to the other side, you have to accept the purgatory of the plateau. You have to be okay with the fact that for months, or even years, you will be putting in the effort and seeing nothing in return. You have to stop measuring your value by the result and start measuring it by your willingness to be bad at something. Let's look at how this actually plays out in your life right now. Imagine you're learning to code. The Dabbler spends 3 months jumping between Python, JavaScript, and Rust. They have 10 Hello World projects and 0 functioning apps. They feel like they're learning because they're consuming content, but they're actually just avoiding the frustration of debugging a single, complex problem for 10 hours. To break this, you have to commit to the boredom. You have to stay with one language until it feels like a second tongue, even when you're sure you've stopped improving. Now look at the fitness journey. The Obsessive hits the gym 7 days a week, cuts their calories to nothing, and tracks every gram of protein. They lose 10 pounds in a month and feel like a god. Then, they hit a plateau. They respond by adding more cardio, more supplements, and more intensity. 2 weeks later, they wake up with a torn ligament or a total mental collapse. They quit the gym entirely for 6 months. To break this, you have to embrace the slow build. You have to accept a pace that feels too slow to be effective, knowing that consistency is the only thing that survives the long haul. Then consider the creative entrepreneur. The hacker uses a polished website template and AI-generated copy to launch a brand. They look like a professional overnight. But when a high-level client asks a deep, fundamental question about their strategy, the hacker freezes. They don't actually know how the engine works, they just know how to paint the car. They spend their time networking instead of studying. To break this, you have to go back to the basics. You have to intentionally put yourself in positions where you are the least experienced person in the room. You have to trade the illusion of success for the reality of growth. You have a choice to make. You can continue to be seduced by the quick fix, the shortcut, and the sudden burst of intensity. You can keep chasing the shadow of satisfaction, or you can choose the long road. The long road is not glamorous. It is not a montage in a movie. It is a series of quiet, frustrating days where you feel like you're getting nowhere. But that is exactly where the potential is realized. The potential is not in the spark. It is in the endurance. Stop looking for the exit. Stop looking for the shortcut. Stop looking for the rush. A man sits at a wooden desk at midnight, his eyes bloodshot, his fingers still typing a single line of code over and over until it finally works.